Hi, welcome to Active Aging. My name's Danielle and I'm going to be your host today. I'm very excited to welcome with us Miss Lauren Flauto and Rachel Ellis. We're going to talk a little bit today about senior living. As you guys know, I work at Shepherd of the Valley, and we have a lot of confusion from people coming in about what different options there are for senior living in the community, when's the appropriate time to start talking about senior living, and what all the different levels of care there are out there. So we just want to take some time today to help explain that for our viewers and hopefully answer some of the questions that you guys might have about retirement living. So thank you guys for coming here today.
Welcome.
Lauren, what do you do at Shepherd of the Valley?
So I'm the Marketing and Public Relations Manager for all of Shepherd and our home health as well.
Very good. And Rachel?
I'm the Admissions and Marketing Coordinator at our Howland site.
Very good. So thanks for coming and taking a half hour out of your day to talk with us and our viewers today. Lauren, can you tell me just a little bit about Shepherd, just so our viewers kind of know what our scope of services are?
Absolutely. So Shepherd of the Valley has been serving the Mahoning and Trumbull County for the last 45 plus years. We have currently 4 locations, our Howland, Niles, Boardman, and Poland. And I'm very happy to say that we are in the process of building our new Liberty site.
Yes, which we're very excited about.
Very excited about.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And what levels of care do we have at the locations?
We have independent living, assisted living, skilled nursing, and rehab, and we also have respite care at all levels and our home health agency.
Perfect. So I know probably a lot of our viewers don't realize, but there are different types of retirement communities that are out there. And one of the more popular models that we see here in the Mahoning Valley is what's called a continuing care retirement community. And so when we look at that, that's one of the communities that's going to offer those different levels of care that Rachel just mentioned. So you're going to have the independent living, assisted living, as well as skilled nursing and rehabilitation. And what do you feel like are some of the benefits? Why should someone look at a community that has that full continuum versus just a standalone assisted living or a standalone nursing home?
I personally think just because you have everything there at your fingertips. So, if God forbid something happened to you, everything is there and available, So if you can start with independent, but then if you, for some reason, need to have the assisted living or you need to have that rehab, it's right there for you. It's available.
It allows you to age in place.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's one of the cool things about a lot of the communities in the Mahoning Valley is that you can kind of come with wherever you're at, and there's going to be something that's going to meet those needs for you. And then as your situation changes, whether you get healthier or, God forbid, a spouse passes away or whatever might happen, there's alternate places that you can stay right there on that campus, and we're able to keep you there and age in place, as Rachel said. Absolutely. So, but there are also standalone facilities, which are also great, depending on what you're looking for. When we talk about standalone facilities, of course, those are going to be buildings that just have one level of care, whether it's rehabilitation or assisted living or just an independent living situation. So there's a couple of different options that are out there. And I know a lot of the words that I'm saying are probably confusing our viewers if they haven't lived in assisted living or haven't had, a family member go through a continuing care retirement community. So I'd like to talk a little bit about what the levels of care options are for retirement living and what those look like. So what can someone expect and what's something that's typical for that level of care? So I guess let's start with independent. So tell me a little bit about independent living and what that means and what that looks like.
Yeah, I think especially for independent, when it comes to, just really just wanting to stay more independent, instead of having to make that move. A lot of people aren't ready to make that move yet, so why not be independent, have that ability to live on your own, but then have the luxury of, what the services offer at wherever facility that you're at, whether it's changing a light bulb or taking advantage of the dining services, things like that, just to be able to live independently and comfortably, but then just knowing that is there just in case.
Sure.
The big house, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
If you're living at home and your house just is becoming too much
Yeah.
work for you, you can move into an independent living community and they do everything for you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Can I move in now, Rachel?
Yeah.
And I think another great thing about living here in the Mahoning Valley is that when you look at our population compared to the rest of the United States, we actually have a disproportionately high number of seniors. So we have a much higher number of seniors here in the Mahoning Valley as opposed to other locations. And what is great about that is that as our seniors age, there's so many more options that are here. And so when you look at independent living options, there's apartments, there are villas, there are condominiums, there are all different types of homes, and there's all different price points. So depending on what you're comfortable spending and what you're comfortable, how much space you need and what type of space you want, there's a lot of great options here for them to choose from. And I think that a lot of the independent living options that we see have a lot of the amenities that Lauren talked about. So to kind of take a lot of that off your plate, which,
Yeah,
who
makes life
doesn't
easier.
that sound great
Absolutely.
for?
Yeah.
Right?
Downsize now.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so we start out with our most independent part where you're still independent, able to care for yourself, and independent living. And then the next kind of step on the ladder would be assisted living. So let's talk about what does assisted living look like and when is someone appropriate for assisted living?
Well, assisted living, you have nursing services available if you need it. So when somebody starts not being able to manage their medications, not being able to get around like they used to be if they're walkers and they need help getting around, if they're not able to cook anymore, their meals would be included in assisted living. So it's just the next level when you need more help.
Perfect.
And you can't live independently.
Yeah, and I know a lot of times we have people that are in independent living, and then as those daily living activities become a little bit more difficult, they kind of come over.
Right.
Or, of course, they're coming from their home. It's not always that you have to go through that linear transition through there. So then after assisted living, our next step would be skilled rehabilitation. So what is skilled rehabilitation? What is that? What does that look like?
Really needing that 24-hour care, around the clock care, whether it's medications, whether, it's just really having everything that you need right there at your fingertips, if you're at that level of care that you need, so.
Very good.
Yeah.
And I think this is a great time to talk a little bit about cost, and specifically with the nursing facility. So when we talk about skilled rehabilitation, we're talking about a nursing home. It can be framed in many different fancy words so that we're not talking about a nursing home, but that's what it is. And there's two different types of care that you receive in a nursing home, correct? Okay. So we can either have a short-term rehab stay or it's going to be more long-term care. So Rachel, are you comfortable explaining the difference between those two?
Sure. Short-term rehab is usually people coming from the hospital after they've had a hospital stay, whether they've fallen and they haven't ended up in the hospital, and they come to us to get some physical therapy, and their goal is short-term stay to go back home. Long-term is usually used for people that can't go home anymore, can't live independently, can't be at home anymore, and their caregivers aren't able to care for them at home, so they come to the long-term.
Yeah, so I know we get a lot of questions, and in all the years I've been in healthcare, I've always gotten a lot of questions about are the nursing facility stays paid for? And I think this is a great time to do some education about that. So if there's that illness or injury that's happened and you need a short-term stay, so you're coming in to receive therapies in order to become healthier and strong enough to go home, typically insurance will pay for that, whether you're on Medicare or a private insurance or Medicaid. But when you're looking more at a custodial care situation where you're looking for that long-term around-the-clock care, typically that is not paid for. I shouldn't say typically. It is not paid for by insurance. So depending on what your needs are when you're looking at that nursing home, it's something to keep in mind. Do we want to, is there an illness or injury which insurance will pay for that short-term stay? And those stays, unfortunately, are becoming shorter and shorter due to all the things that are going on with managed care, or, looking at that long-term stay and preparing for that financially because, privately paying is going to look a little bit different, or making sure that you're seeing an attorney to financially plan to prepare for applying for Medicaid as well, because Medicaid will pay for those custodial skilled nursing stays. As I think we've seen a large transition to home-based community services in the industry. We're looking at the aging industry, and we'll talk about home health and hospice in a couple minutes. But there is a large push right now to try to stay at home because of the costs that are associated with the different levels of care. And so I want to talk a little bit about what that looks like and kind of what kind of costs to expect. Because I know a lot of times when, our viewers or other customers kind of come in and start shopping it, there is a little bit of sticker shock about that. And so I want to talk about what's included, like what's a typical rate that you're going to be seeing across the board. Not necessarily specifics because, our, different companies are going to charge different things, but we can kind of talk maybe about a range. So I want to back up to our friends in independent living. Tell me a little bit about how is that paid? Is there insurance that's going to pay for that? Can I have some kind of secret policy that's going to pay for me to come live there?
Unfortunately not. That's all private pay for independent living.
It's all going to be private pay. And I think that in my research, I've seen that those prices can range anywhere from like $600 a month all the way up to $5,000 a month, which again sounds very overwhelming. It sounds overwhelming to me. Of course, yeah. So can you talk to me about typically what's included in those fees? Like what should I expect to have to pay or not pay for?
Typically that includes like your maintenance-free living, so all indoor and outdoor maintenance, partial utilities, so whether it's water, sewer, and trash, gas and electric might still be on your own.
Okay.
It includes, a meal plan option. It doesn't include the meals in your rent, but you could come up to the big house for lunch and dinner. But it really just includes that security. You get an emergency pendant, so, they are safe and secure on that campus. And different things like that.
Very good. So that monthly fee that you're paying, whatever that amount might be, of course the specifics are going to vary from campus to campus. Yeah. However, it sounds like a lot of your utilities are going to be included. I know property taxes are typically included, so you don't have to worry about paying property taxes anymore. You no longer have to worry about home insurance. You would have maybe renter's insurance to look at, but that's significantly less expensive. So when we talk about those prices and when people are looking at retirement, time for retirement and looking at living, I always encourage them to kind of sit down and look at all of their current expenses. So add up how much is your sewage and your trash and your water and your electric and your gas and your insurance and your taxes and kind of look at all of that in addition to your mortgage or whatever type of payment you're making, to see what your actual monthly expenses are, because in a lot of circumstances, even though the payment might be higher than your current rent or mortgage, you're saving quite a bit of money.
I agree completely. A lot of people don't realize that, going in. They think it's such a high expense, but they don't realize what they're actually getting for that that amount that they're paying, because they're used to paying all those extra bills with the utilities. So it almost is like you're saving when you're moving to a
absolutely.
retirement facility.
And if you are someone who pays to have your driveway cleared of snow, if you pay to have your leaves raked and removed, if you pay to have your grass cut, all those chores that we all love to do so much on our Saturdays. If you're someone who's paying for assistance, because that can be overwhelming for anyone, especially as we age. Some of those activities become a little bit less safe for us.
Right.
So if you're looking to hire help in, those are very costly services. And so those, of course, would be costs that you're not paying for anymore. So I think that it's really important for whatever level of care you're looking at to sit down and really look at those costs that you're spending monthly, so you have a good frame of reference when you look at what your rent or monthly lease is going to be. Now, independent living, Rachel, does not include any medical services. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So if I have anything going on that I would want a nurse or anything, that would be either in addition to, or you'd have to bring in home health or something like that. Okay. Very good. So that's the situation with independent living. Let's talk about assisted living. How do we pay for that? What does that look like? What does it include?
That's usually all private pay as well. I know some facilities have Medicaid as well. They'll accept Medicaid once your money runs out. But usually that includes all your meals. All utilities are included, and that nursing assistance there if you need it. So they'll help typically with like any bathing needs, dressing, medications, and toileting, anything like that you need. And usually you have a call light that you would wear, like as a pendant on your neck or a bracelet. Push that if you need anything at all. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. You're still independent because you have your own private apartment, but you have that nursing assistance right outside your door if you need it.
Perfect.
Literally.
And right, exactly.
It's literally right outside the door.
And I know the one thing that's always surprised me with assisted living, and something that I think consumers need to be aware of, is that when you look at your monthly payment, some facilities have a flat rate. So you're paying X number of dollars a month, and it's not going to change regardless of what you eat or how many times you go to the bathroom or how many showers you take or how much housekeeping assistance you might need. And then there's other companies that we've seen that do what I call a la carte pricing. And so you start out at a very low base rate, and then as different assistances are needed, that kind of adds up. So if you're on this many medications, you pay one fee. If you're on this many medications, you pay another fee. If you need these types of supplies, it's that fee. So it can kind of add up. So I think that from a consumer standpoint, it's so important that you do shop assisted livings and that you do look at the different price points. That you should shop all levels of care.
Completely.
I think you need a tour and shop all levels of care, but especially with the assisted living, because it can be very deceiving if one place has a flat fee and another place has that a la carte pricing, because the a la carte will look sometimes cheaper, and a lot of times it does balance out and it's very close, but it's important to look at that so that you're not shocked the first month that you get that bill. And typically with assisted living, you're looking anywhere between $2,500 a month and $9,000 a month, depending on the acuity of the patient. So the more care that you need, of course, the more costs that are going to be associated with it, But that is something that we all need to be aware of when you're shopping.
Absolutely.
It's not always apples to apples. You have to look at how you're being billed.
And if people aren't already getting aid and attendance from the veterans,
Yep.
the VA, they offer aid and attendance, so you could always check that out. They help pay for assisted living facilities. Also, I know some long-term care insurance policies help kick in and pay for assisted living too if you're eligible
Perfect.
for your policy.
Last year we had some gentlemen from the Mahoning County Veterans Commission here, and they talked to us a little bit about aid and attendance. But I feel like that's such an underutilized benefit, and it's such a critical benefit for us to educate on. I'd like to talk a little bit more about that. So if you are a veteran, or if you were married to a veteran, then you are entitled to the aid and attendance pension.
Yes.
And that pension can be utilized for either assisted living services, so it can be paid towards your assisted living bill each month, or it can be used for in-home care. And it's a wonderful benefit, and it can really take some of the financial burden of being
absolutely,
cared for off of us. And if you are a veteran, thank you if you have served. We are so grateful. Then we want you to be able to take care of that, going ahead and getting the applying for that. That's what I'm trying to say.
course.
We want you to apply for that so that you can take advantage of that,
Yeah.
because that's a really fantastic benefit
It
is.
to the veterans pension.
Yeah,
So
take advantage.
yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of times, it's funny, Lauren, that I know I've met spouses, a lot of times wives of veterans
yeah.
that didn't even realize
Right.
A lot of people don't know.
they didn't
It's
realize
it's
that was something
really,
they can do.
yeah.
Their husband had passed away. That typically if the husband passes away and who was service connected, they
Yeah.
sometimes will lose that connection
Right.
to the veteran services, and so they're not even aware that there's a pension
Absolutely.
out there. And so, if you are a veteran, if you're married to a veteran, please take the time to find out if that's something you're eligible for, because
I was to say full disclosure, my own family wasn't even aware of it, but because I
Right.
work in this industry, had they not, they didn't know about
Absolutely.
it, but I was, able to tell them about it. So my mom was
Absolutely.
able to do the research. So.
it's pretty, and it's a very simple process.
Yeah. It is very.
In any county that you're in, you talk to the service commission, and they'll take good care of you, make sure that you
they're
get what you
wonderful
need.
there.
So,
Yeah, we love them.
so that's a great way to help pay for assisted living, and then also like you said, Rachel, Medicaid as well. Some of the buildings do have a Medicaid waiver license, and so if you have a Medicaid waiver license, then Medicaid can help pay, which unfortunately, it is very costly to age, especially
Yeah.
once you start needing assistance. So
Yeah.
if we can find ways to help our neighbors and friends and viewers, get through this, then we want to make sure we're doing that.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
okay, so we talked about skills. You already told us a little bit about there's two different types. Long term is going to be a private pay situation or Medicaid, and then our friends that are coming in for short term rehabilitation are going to be billed through insurance. Can you give us a ballpark, idea of how much, if I'm privately paying a nursing home, how much should I expect to be spending a day?
Usually daily, it's like $267 a day. We do have two different room types though too. So I don't know of other facilities if they have all private rooms. Their prices may vary, but there's usually two different prices for semi-private or private. But usually monthly, it's between $8,000 to $9,000 a month.
And that's at like a $250, $275 price
Right.
point. So I know that when we've looked and talked to other agencies, I know those rates can go all the way up to almost $400 a day.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you're looking for short-term or a long-term placement, I always tell people, even if you're at short-term placement, you want to take the time to find out how much that daily rate is, because
Yes.
at some point, if you get kicked onto that daily rate, it can become very costly
Right.
very fast.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and the unfortunate part about the short-term rehabilitation and even sometimes long-term is that independent living is usually a luxury. You've made that decision that you want to retire and that you want to go ahead and you want to move, and so you can be very careful in your planning. You can take a lot of time to tour all the different locations and really make a personal decision and take your time with that. Assisted living sometimes can be that way, but oftentimes there's an incident that kind of pushes people to
Yes,
that.
right,
And
exactly.
skilled is very rarely a luxury. It is, I've fallen and I can't get up, and now I'm at the hospital,
Yeah.
and then I end up in skilled, and so you're pushed very quickly to make these decisions. And so, if everyone could make themselves aware of what the options are, so that in the event
Absolutely.
of an emergency, you're not rushing. So
Right.
that being said, so I've seen this program and now I'm very engaged and I want to make sure I'm right, guys, and I want to make sure I'm prepared. So what's my next step? Like, what do I do? How do I prepare for a move? What are my options?
Yeah. Honestly, it's really about doing your homework. And something that I love that we do at Shepherd is we offer free downsizing seminars out to the community, to caregivers. And what's nice is that we bring in all the local professionals. So whether it's in our Trumbull County area or Mahoning County area, we bring in everybody from a financial planner to an attorney, to probably one of the more popular people, I would say, is the professional organizer, because everyone wants to know, how do I get rid of my stuff? Or, how do you get started? Because, you've lived in your homes for so many years,
Absolutely.
20, 30, 40, 50 years, so it's a lot of things you have to go through. And, just getting started is the hardest part, I feel like, for people.
Oh, yeah.
So, what's nice is, during these downsizing seminars, you have the ability to hear what these people can offer, and then you also have that one-on-one time to sit with them and talk to them and get that time where you can ask those personal questions that maybe you don't want to ask in front of the entire group.
Sure,
you know?
absolutely.
But it really is a wonderful opportunity to understand how to really get started, to do your homework, whether it's Shepherd of the Valley or another facility out there. You want to know what's going to be the best fit for yourself or your loved ones.
Right.
So it really is a great opportunity to learn more.
Very cool. And
Yeah.
Lauren, are any of those seminars coming up, or is there somewhere I can find out
We
more about them?
do. We actually have one coming up actually at our Howland site on Friday, August 9th from 2 to 4.
Okay.
There's going to be refreshments provided and whatnot, and the food's always delicious at Shepherd, so please come. We love to feed you.
And if we want to attend that, seminar on Friday, then where would I RSVP, or where would I get more information?
Actually, you want to call the Howland site to RSVP with Rachel so that we can get you on the list.
And that phone number.
330-856-9232, and you would ask for Rachel, or my extension is 2618.
Perfect. Okay.
Wonderful.
So hopefully we'll have some viewers that might want to come out.
Yeah.
The downsizing seminar is a great opportunity to kind of hear from everybody at once. And I actually would really encourage our viewers to consider it, and also to tell their kids about it.
Absolutely.
Because the downsizing isn't something that necessarily starts when you've decided, okay, I'm ready to sell my house. There's so many things you can do to prepare, specifically with the financial and legal planning of retirement. The earlier that you start those conversations, the easier it will be when the time comes. So, but I'm super excited that all those professionals will be in one place.
Also realtors too. I don't know if I mentioned that or not
Yeah,
before, but we have great realtors too that come
absolutely.
in.
So you can figure out how the heck am I going to sell my
Yes.
monstrosity of a home, right?
Yeah.
Very
Whether it's your
cool.
home or your loved ones,
So if I'm not able to make it to the downsizing seminar, and I'm at home and I'm interested in coming out and finding out more about all senior living, where are some places I go? What are some things I should do? Like, should I be calling, or should I call you, Rachel, and set up a tour? Where should I go with that?
Absolutely. You can call anytime to set up a tour with
Okay.
me, or myself. Anybody at our site will be happy to show you around, give you information. Just stop out.
Very good.
Absolutely.
I know that a great place too, so that you're not driving all over Tarnation trying to figure out where is an assisted living or where's independent living, is a lot of the information, of course, can be found on the internet.
Yes.
And there's a lot of great websites that are out there that can kind of help you identify assisted livings or independent livings. You can also, of course, go to Medicare.gov if you're looking for rehabilitation or skilled nursing. And what I love about that website, the Nursing Home Compare website, is that I can actually take a look at what you're doing from a standard of care.
Yeah.
So what is your star rating? What are the quality
yes.
ratings? What is the resident satisfaction situation and the family satisfaction situation? So I think that's a great resource if you're looking for a skilled nursing
Absolutely.
facility.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I think the other thing I want to make sure we have a couple minutes to touch on real fast is some people don't want to leave their homes. I'm one of those people. I love being at home. I'm going to stay as long as I can, as long as I can make it. So, and my grandmother's the exact same way. My grandmother does not want to leave her home. She had to do some rehabilitation late last year, and it went very well. But at the end of the stay, she wanted to go home. She didn't even want to talk about assisted living, and I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
So, there is a huge push right now for home-based and community services. And so with home health is specifically where I'm going with this. Tell me a little bit about home health and what that looks like.
Yeah, I can't speak more highly about our home health team. We provide everything from skilled nursing down to companionship. So if you need the absolute, like I said, the skilled nursing services, we can provide that to you in your home, which is a wonderful thing. And we're actually one of the only at-home services that have 24/7 care. So we can do that all the time.
Lauren, what does skilled services mean? So if
So-
I'm at home and I need, what would a skilled service look like, or what is
I mean,
that?
everything from bathing to, medication monitoring to all sorts of types of different things that you need, once you're that level of care. So it just really depends. Like if you need, meals to be made for you, if you need laundry done around the house, I've seen that done. Bathing, toiletry, things like that. Like you just need that extra additional
Sure.
help, but you don't want to be in a facility doing it. You want to be in the comfort of your home.
Okay.
Let it be, our care in your home.
Sure. So if I need nursing care, is that something that would be included in that, or therapy or anything like that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
it's a wonderful
and
thing.
how is that piece paid for, the skilled piece, which would be the therapy and the nursing? How would that be paid for?
So the skilled nursing, I believe, is depending on what insurances you have too.
Okay.
Some of it can be covered under that. If not, it'll be a private pay service.
Okay, very good. So we can do, so the insurance pays for that. So that's going to be something that's going to be free of cost. Maybe there'll be a small copay.
Yeah, a little,
but if I
depending
need
on, yeah.
assistance in the home, then they'll be able to do that. But the custodial services, like the cleaning and
Yeah.
the dining and or the dining, Lord help me, and the meal making
plan, yeah,
and maybe
sure.
those types of things, that's going to be private
More
pay.
private pay,
Okay, so
yes.
is that ever covered by insurance?
No.
I didn't think so. Come on now.
Unfortunately.
Come on, guys.
Unfortunately. We wish it was.
Unfortunately, I know. Okay.
We don't
But-
take advantage of
but
it.
at least, so we do have some options that are paid then by insurance, and then there's this other piece of it that would be an additional privately paid situation. Okay. So it's great that we have home health that can come in. Can home health also be used in the independent living or anything like that?
Absolutely, yep.
Okay.
They can even be used in assisted living as well.
Yep.
So it can kind of go anywhere it needs to go. Okay, very good. And that can also help, I'm assuming, with the aging in place piece.
Absolutely.
Very good. I know that our home health agency here at Shepherd recently started a program on
Yes.
preventing falls, and I know that's a huge issue in the senior community. So can you tell me very briefly about what that looks like?
Yes, so our new program is called Steady Steps with Shepherd. It, like you said, it's a fall prevention program. It's a 4-week program, and what the beauty of it is that it's done in the privacy of your own home. So a lot of people just want to be able to stay home longer, and this is really a ticket to stay home longer. That's I always say this is not a ticket into the nursing home. This is a ticket to stay home longer.
There you
so
go.
it really has benefited a lot of people that have been in this program. We've seen people go from walkers to canes or canes to nothing, and
wow.
it's just been a really, really great program, and doctors are loving it. So
Very
yeah.
cool. And if I want to learn more about that program or be in that program, how would I do so?
Please contact At Home with Shepherd or Shepherd of the Valley. So I'd be happy to come out and talk with them personally.
Okay, and where should we call that, or who should we call with that?
Give my personal cell phone and I don't care. You can give me a call. It's 330-507-1827, and I'd be happy to answer any
Lauren's
questions about
giving out her
Shepherd.
cell phone. I
I'm
like
happy
it.
to do it.
I like
happy to do it.
So we only have a minute
on my
left.
business card.
That's okay. So we only have a minute left. So before we leave, I just want to know, what advice would you give our viewers if they're preparing to downsize or go into retirement, or maybe they haven't thought about that yet? What advice would you give them?
I would say to shop early, shop now, know what's out there, whether it's Shepherd of the Valley or another nursing home. I mean, obviously we prefer Shepherd, but I would say, just know what's out there, whether it's from independent living, assisted living. If God forbid, like we said earlier, so many times people make a very quick decision in a vulnerable state of mind because they've fallen, they've broken their hip or fractured their knee or whatever it is. So you want to know what places are out there. You want to go on the websites and see what are their star ratings, are their services, at the highest.
Absolutely.
You want to see what kind of care that they can provide. So definitely do your homework and be
Yes,
knowledgeable
that's what I
now
would say.
instead of making it in a
Crisis.
instead of a crisis situation and being very frantic.
Well, hopefully this was some great information that we can start that homework process. And of course, if you have any questions, you can reach out to Lauren and to Rachel. They can both be reached at 330-530-4038. The Home Health Agency can also be reached there. And we just really appreciate everyone spending time with us today. Have a wonderful day. Until next month.